If your goal is to never feel regret, you're going to go crazy. Literally every decision is just, which one will I regret less? Not what do I prefer? Not what do I want? Not what am I? Every decision is what will I regret more? So you're just in fear. That is old, smaller consciousness, third density bullshit. Open your heart up. What do I want? And I'm fine with regret.
The New York Times, USA Today, and Wall Street Journal best-selling author, 2 #1 specials on Comedy Central, Kyle Cease. At the height of his success, he transitioned from being a comic to being someone who uses comedy to help himself and others transform.
I really believe that no person has ever broken your heart, but they broke your expectations. And by breaking your expectations, they get you closer to your heart.
How are you feeling? How's your heart? How are you today? What's going on? How's your heart? Just give me, before we even go forward, let's actually answer that. Maybe even if you think I won't see it or say it out loud, talk to me about how you're feeling. Patricia says heavy. What are you feeling right now? Open, content, really good right now, delicate, warm, overwhelmed, stretched, peaceful, sleepy, liberated. I feel good, finally in a good place, grateful, half and half. So she's feeling like creamer. I'm confused, loving. My heart is heavy and painful, confused, cracking it open, aligned, pinched, huge transformation. What I want to offer you right now, no matter what you're feeling, everyone get in what you're feeling, whether I read it or not. I just want you to put out just what you're feeling. And I want you to undo the reason for it. Like, you need to write, blah, blah, I'm feeling blah, 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 because blah, blah, blah. I'm feeling blah, 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 because this thing happened. And you don't even have to have what it'll be later. Sometimes people say, I feel this, but I know later it's going to be blah, 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 right? And if we undo the reason and if we undo the solution, we just kind of get to be with what we're feeling. So I want to offer you on the other side of whatever you just wrote that you're feeling to be okay with it. I want you to be okay with it. Your biggest pain is that you're not okay with what you're feeling, right? No matter who I talk to, every client I have, it's almost like this first thing comes out. It's like, I'm feeling really off. And I said, and are you okay with that? And it very often happens, they'll be like, no. Like, right. Your idea of on is that your ego is in a familiar place, but we don't want to only be in a familiar place. We want to expand. So sometimes for expansion, you would have to be off. You would have to be off. Like, think of it in terms of literally going to a different house, right? If you go to a different house, it's not familiar. You could feel off, even if where you're going is better, even if where you're going is more amazing for you. So it's impossible to expand and not feel off or confused or lost at times, because the only thing that was on was your egoic idea, right? You're a familiar, right? That's the only thing that's on, right? So I want to offer you to undo the idea that off is a problem, that sad is a problem, that confused is a problem, and be okay with what you're feeling. So feel free to write again what you're feeling and that it's perfect. I feel off and it's perfect. I feel crazy and it's perfect. I feel lost and it's perfect. I feel confused and it's perfect. Feel free to write and it's perfect, right? Overwhelmed and it's perfect. Like, you're supposed to feel overwhelmed right now because you do, right? We have gotten to a place, I feel horrific and it's perfect, unsettled and it's perfect, sad and it's perfect. My heart is heavy and it's perfect. Beautiful. We've gotten to a place where we think we're not supposed to feel what we're feeling. And it's craziness because you are feeling what you're feeling. So you're supposed to be feeling that. I want to just offer you to realize that you are feeling what you're feeling. So you're supposed to be. We've created a character that says, I'm supposed to be feeling something else. And it's insanity. Why? Why are you ever supposed to be feeling something different than you're feeling? If you could start to, in every moment, work on being okay with what you're feeling. I don't care if it's blocked, lost, vortex, depressed, a void, totally disconnected, anxious, anxiety, whatever you're feeling, the power is in, are you okay with it? Because then it can be seen, right? Then it can be loved, then it can be held, then it can be here, right? That's the thing, is you're here to learn unconditional love, and unconditional love loves everything you're feeling. Are you with me? Unconditional love loves everything you're feeling, right? So if you feel off and you are okay with that, you'll realize off was your own egoic idea. But instead, unconditional love loves even if you feel like you are a bad person today, if you feel that you are angry at someone, if you feel hatred, if you feel depressed, whatever you're feeling, unconditional love is learning to love you. You know, a thing that I had 2 different people that I worked with today have the exact same thing back to back. It was fascinating. Yesterday, I had 2 clients that were men that were releasing the exact same thing back to back. And then today I had 2 women releasing the same thing back to back. And here's what both women today had. Check this out. They don't want to rely on someone else. Does anyone have that? I don't want to have to rely on someone else. Well, weirdly, both of them, when I said to them to say out loud to their inner child, it's okay if you rely on someone else, they both couldn't say it for a long time. They felt horror when they were about to say it, right? This sentence, that is associated with trauma, right? So they noticed that they felt off when they were saying that. It's okay to rely on someone else. Now, remember, relying on someone else doesn't literally only mean that you can't also be connected to yourself, but there's a trauma to the idea of relying on someone else, right? And that's something we got to look at, because then you're in this belief that there's you separate from someone else. And you might be here to be open to the idea that, that it's okay to rely on someone else. That doesn't mean you're becoming codependent on them, right? But I noticed that today, 2 people had that at this, like back to back. And I was like, wow, is today the day where people who've done everything themselves get to a place where they're okay with relying on someone else? Because there's a shadow to doing everything yourself. The shadow is you're not open to anyone who actually has good intentions for you. You're not open to the universe helping you. Your ego's doing it all separately. So one of the things you could say is, I feel like I have to rely on someone else, and I love that, and I'm okay with that, right? So I want to offer you to be okay with the idea that you might need to get help from someone else at times. And if you've only done that, be okay with the idea that you can do it alone. But I want to ask you, as I say these things, I'm just curious for you, what's your biggest fear? Because whatever your biggest fear is, this is something I said last week, and I just want to bring this up here. Whatever your biggest fear is what you're still resisting. And if you're still resisting it, then your ego's handling it. And if your ego's handling it, you're literally telling the universe, I don't want you to help with this, right? So if your ego's handling this, you're telling the universe, I don't want you to help with this, because the ego's got it. And the universe is like literally saying to you, okay, that you got, because we can help with, the universe is like, I don't know but the universe is like, we can help with everything. It's like a moving company. We can help with everything, right? And you're like, you can take everything except for this one thing: my fear of relying on someone else, my feeling alone, my being totally lost, my being confused. Those things my ego's going to take on. And the ego's way of taking on those things is continually fixing circumstances so that it doesn't have to feel those things. Well, those things that it doesn't want to feel are going to be coming up over and over and over again until you allow them to. So the big shift is for you to say, you're allowed to feel those things. You're allowed to feel. So what's your biggest fear? If you say you're allowed to feel that fear, right? You're allowed to feel totally lost. You're allowed to feel like everyone will abandon you. You're allowed to feel like you're unloved. You're allowed to be rejected. You're allowed to not live to your fullest potential. Like we could do this with yours. You're allowed to feel trapped. Like you're telling this energy, I'm still with you, even if you do feel alone, feel trauma, feel lost, feel like a burden. You're allowed to be a burden in my body. You're allowed to be criticized in my body. You're allowed to be punished in my body. You're allowed to feel like a failure and delusional and foolish. You're allowed to feel like you owe someone something. You're like basically what you're saying to it. You're allowed to be a loser in my body. You're allowed to be rejected in my body. What are you saying to it? You're telling the energy in your body that even if it feels that way, you're still here. So you become the unconditional love, the safety for it to be feeling everything it's feeling. This is a miracle if you understand what's going on, right? And you will notice if you say that, if you have a thing that you don't want to say, it's okay if they give me shit. It's okay if they call me out. It's okay if I'm abandoned. What my family's allowed to, I'm allowed to be the family scapegoat. Suzanne, that's perfect. I'm allowed to be, because you're telling it, I love you, even if you are. And you shift the love being their egos to you, and you become the love that you've always been looking for, right? Kathy King says, you're allowed to die alone in my body. Exactly. I'm scared to die alone. And the only way I could die alone is that's the only way that it will die. Even if people are standing around you, you always still at one point are alone. But if you get okay with that, you'll realize the alone is actually you connected with source. So some people will die with other people in the room and trick themselves into thinking they didn't die alone. And some people will die alone in the woods or whatever and go, oh, this was my ultimate fear. It's fine. Are you getting that? This is fine. Everything, I want you to just be that space of love that says, even if that happens, I'm with you. Even if that, I remember working with someone once and their biggest thing was like, I'm worried that my sibling will commit suicide. Now, of course, we're never, ever, ever aiming for that. But I had her say, it is possible that my sister could commit suicide. And you watched her cry out so much. And what she started realizing was her constant fear of that repressed was causing her to be an overfixer, to be there for her so much that she was draining herself and actually more likely to bring this person to getting attention for their victimhood, which could push that. So when she cried that out, it almost liberated the energy where she could go into her power and bring love versus fear to the person who is that, which is really what they need more. So when you actually face that biggest thing could happen, is possible, is okay, you can do this with anything. You could be like, it's possible, it is possible that we could be nuked. It's possible that there's a whatever. This is not ever aiming for that, but it's undoing the trapped energy in your body that's actually calling for that. You're freeing that energy versus keeping it down, right? This is really, really, really big. What if my fear is to see a loved one in pain? You would say, it is totally possible that I might see that person in pain. That's true. So this is possible. All these things are possible, right? It is possible you'll die alone. It is possible these things. Your problem is never those things. Your problem is your argument with it. So imagine that you got this character, you're trying to expand, and you got this character that's kind of sitting on top of a box going, this can't happen. And inside that box you think is a giant, horrifying thing, but really it's nothing. And if you would just get off the box for a minute and let that thing come to light, you would find total freedom. You would find love. You would find joy, because that energy would realize that even if that happened, you're there. Even if that happened, it's loved. That's not what the programming was in the childhood. In the childhood, it said, even if that happened, my dad beats me. Even if that happened, my mom shames me. Even if that happened, but you're grown up now. So you're allowed to go, I'm not in my childhood anymore. I'm here now. So you are an unconditional love. And what I want to offer you is kind of what tonight's talk is a little bit about, which is there's always a higher way. And we've trained ourselves to just look at the circumstances on the external, but every circumstance going on in the world. I mean, I'm including Russia, Ukraine, I'm including Will Smith, I'm including your opinion about anything going on, I'm including your family dynamic, I'm including anyone going completely broke, I'm including all of these things, whatever is going on in your life. Any trigger is trying to get you to see something inside. And what you don't know is whatever's going on the external, if you keep just fixing it on the external, still do pay your bills, deal with these things, you're gonna have these things, but you're gonna miss out on the opportunity because the universe is trying to free you. And it's always trying to take you to a more and more magical world. Right? It's trying so hard to take you to more and more of a magical world. This is a big time right now because right now the universe is making the circumstances so unbearable that you have to go inward. And this is life healing itself right now. It's going, I need you to go. The circumstances are too much. I'm going to go inward. And what I want to offer you is there's always 100% of the time a higher way trying to unfold for you. Do you understand this? Your circumstance at the level of the circumstance is your way of blocking yourself from something more magical and more amazing and more you. And we've always done our very best to do what we think is our highest self. Everything we've ever done is the highest self that we knew. But the reason that it eventually falls apart is because a new higher self is birthing. And I want to offer you that a higher you is trying so hard to unfold. So no matter what you feel, no matter what you're going through, I promise you, if it's that someone has left you, if it's that you're completely abandoned, right? If you're allowing yourself to feel totally lost, if you're feeling completely broke, whatever you're feeling, I want you to be present with the idea. Take a deep breath in and release it, that you might not be able to find it with the old way, but a new way is birthing. I want you to hear that. You might not be able to find it with the old way, but a new way is birthing. Are you with me? You might not be able to find it with the old way, but a new way is birthing. So it's trying to get you to stop looking in the old way, right? It's trying to get you to stop going, is it here or here? What do I do about this circumstance? Oh, it's here, it's here. Something's trying to emerge, something's trying to unfold. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to listen deeper. One thing I wanna offer you is you're being called with every circumstance in your life to listen deeper and maybe longer. And not listen for the result that you only know of based on your past way. Life is giving you a new way that's always different than any way you've ever had. Do you know this? Life cannot give you the same lesson again. So every new way does not show up with the same energy or the same answer that the old way had. Right? You're here to learn life, so it has to give you a new lesson. So it might give you a new way that you'll be going, oh, I tried that method that worked last week, but it doesn't work now. Exactly. Because then you just get obsessed with a method and not actually experience life. So life is going, I'm going to make things crazy again for you. I'm going to make them confusing. Oh, you thought it was an internal thing and now you're worried about something with Russia. Oh, okay. Maybe you got to surrender in a different way. Maybe you got to let me take the wheel more. Maybe you needed to learn that lesson last time, but right now I have a new way. I want to get you excited about the idea that a new way is coming, right? So Aviva just said, I'm tired of trying so hard. A new way is coming. Maybe you're done trying. Maybe trying has been the problem. Maybe your trying is in the way of not listening. Do you get what I'm saying? Maybe your trying is blocking you from listening. Maybe the ego is trying to do everything. And only the ego is trying. The universe is like, let me know when you're done trying because I'm here. I'm going to just do something, right? right? The universe is like, can you stop trying? And Kathy G says, no, try, only do. What if even doing is too much? What if the universe is like, I got the whole thing. Maybe the way you do in the past is done. What can you be with that concept? Try that for a minute. What if the way you've done everything in the past is done? Now, we don't know what the hell that looks like, but that's fine. Could you play with that? What if the way you've done everything ever in your life in the past is done? Then you just wait for a minute because I don't know what to do next. Yeah, I know, because that's done, right? Deep breath in. What if how you've done everything, every solution you've ever had, everything, every way you've known it is done? I'm not saying that's the case for you, but what if it is? What if you're about to start day one of a whole new life that you have no idea how to go through, and maybe you're not supposed to know? Maybe something's going to take over for you. Maybe something freeing's happening, and maybe you're just supposed to live your life your highest way, and then that'll take care of it. Maybe you think you're dealing with an issue with someone and you're supposed to be fasting, and that turns out to have the answer you don't understand tied to the thing. Maybe you're fixing your money situation, but life needs you to meditate more, and it has nothing to do with that. Maybe you'll be shocked at how much the highest thing you have to do that seems not related to the issues actually takes care of the issues. You'll be like, why do I have this whatever issue with my grandma? Oh, I have to forgive my ex. And you're like, why? What? They aren't related. And then you forgive your ex, and then life comes in like, here's the grandma's calling you because you healed some energy inside of you that was mad at her. Like, it's just like so weird how much it goes. Listen, stop focusing on the issue at the level of the issue. Move into your highest, and I'll take care of the issues. And when you think that you haven't had the issues taken care of, you're supposed to, and maybe you're supposed to stop micromanaging the issues. What if check that out. What if today, maybe that was supposed to come through for you, if that triggered something in you, because it did for me. What if life's going, I need you to stop micromanaging the issues? Can you feel how freeing that is? Stop micromanaging the issues. Live in your freest, live in your truth, live in your highest. Stop fixing at the level of issues. Isn't that exciting? Can you stop dealing with things at the level of the issues? And remember, I'm not saying don't do an apology, but if you can feel the energy of the issue is stagnant, break off of it for a second. At least break off the attachment of it. I got this person that's saying this about me on Yelp, right? Whatever it is. Like, I got so much happening, I'm being attacked. Maybe that's heavy because I don't know if anyone here owns a ma and pa restaurant. That's their issue. But what if you're dealing with it and it's heavier than you are? So we let go of it so God can take care of it a little bit. A higher vibration is trying to come through. So Ryan just said, I feel ashamed and guilty because I haven't been meditating lately. Every day in April, I will be. So I want to offer you to release the guilt, because that's here to show you that you're addicted to guilt. All right, here's a question I have for everyone. Maybe Ryan said that for all of us. Are you addicted to guilt more than forgiveness? Maybe you're supposed to learn forgiveness. I mean, the opposite of guilt in my eyes is forgiveness for yourself. I can either forgive myself for this, or I can stay connected to my parents from the 70s and feel guilty about everything, because I only know love if I feel guilty about everything. And then you create a situation where it's impossible to not make a mistake, because then you'll feel guilty about it. How about this? How about regret? Does anyone have a constant fear of regret? Every decision you're making is, I'm worried I'll feel regret. Yeah, but wait a minute. You make a new decision every second. How could you not feel regret? We all know that what would it have been like had you stayed in that place years ago, or kept that stock, or kept that job, or kept that relationship, whatever it is. There's no way you can't feel regret. What if you just felt love and were okay with regret? So you move into what you prefer, knowing always every choice has another side that you're not going to do, right? Like just every choice always will have something that you aren't, in every decision, there will always be something you're not choosing. Just make that okay, right? And maybe guilt or fear of regret is causing you to constantly always feel regret, because the people who have a fear of regret are actually addicted to regret. Do you notice that? The people who feel a fear of regret are always the ones feeling regret. I don't have a big fear of regret, and I very rarely feel it. And if I do, I go, oh, what's coming? What's arising? What am I about to learn? Oh, I feel regret. So I'm mad at myself. So I'm about to learn a new thing, a new way. I'm about to learn something new about me. I'm about to become something bigger. I'm about to be freer. I'm going to feel through the feeling of regret and be present with it. Could you make it okay to feel regret? I mean, every second we're making a new decision. So it'd be impossible to not feel regret ever. But if your goal is to never feel regret, you're going to go crazy. Literally every decision is just, which one will I regret less? Not what do I prefer? Not what do I want? Not what am I? Every decision is, what will I regret more? So you're just in fear. That is old, smaller consciousness, third density bullshit. Open your heart up. What do I want? And I'm fine with regret. Because every decision you make, you never have enough info anyway. You don't have all the information. You don't know. I hope I picked the right person. You don't know anything about what they're really like, or what'll unfold, or what'll happen. What do you want? And it's fine if I'm wrong. I'm allowed to be wrong. It's not even a thing. Life was giving me a bunch of things that I wasn't even considering in every decision anyway. So regret is a lie. Isn't this amazing? Are you feeling that? Regret's a lie. Because the ego goes, I made a mistake because I know this way would have been the right way, but you don't have all the information. So regret's a lie. Like, you don't know the whole thing. Had I stayed with that person, they would have blah, blah, blah. How do you know if you stayed with them, you wouldn't have gotten a car accident in a week later? Like, you don't know anything. Do you get what I'm saying? How do you know? You don't have all the information. So your regret is a lie because you don't even know what would have happened the other way. I knew I should have. No, you don't. You don't know anything about all the other factors that were included in that direction. Maybe you would have had the best life ever and totally got depressed because you got everything you wanted and then never ever met yourself. Isn't it weird? We always think that other way, that maybe would have made more money as far as you see, or would have been a better relationship, would have been better than you meeting yourself and finding a higher version of you. Like, that would have been better. That thing was better for me, right? Well, how do you know that wouldn't have been so good that you completely became a star and lost yourself, as you've totally had this external shallow life because you got all the things you wanted immediately and never grew? Like, you don't know shit about anything. You don't know shit about the other way. So I just want to break down factually, your fear of regret and your guilt is a lie. It's a very small thinking, and I don't mean it with judgment. It's just like, it's this ego grabbing on, acting like it knows the whole story. It's silly. Ego doesn't know anything about what's going on. You're supposed to be exactly where you are, and you were supposed to be everything you were, and you were supposed to do everything you did, and everything was supposed to happen to you that happened. Otherwise, you're just in an argument with yourself and missing out on now. And now, and when you defend that limitation, oh, that was not supposed to happen to me, whatever. Okay, then be in an argument with it and keep it trapped. Keep it there. Keep that box there. It wasn't supposed to happen to you. Now you're in an argument with what is. You can't find any atonement. You can't heal it. You can't connect with source because you're in an argument with what is. Forgive yourself. You're already forgiven. Just receive it. There's always a higher way coming. Always. There's always a higher way coming. There's always a higher way, but you got to move into the frequency of finding the higher, of receiving the higher, of waiting. Maybe it's trying to teach you patience. Maybe it's trying to teach you release. Maybe it's just going, I'm going to do my way. Just know things are happening. And maybe it goes, I need you to fall apart for a while. I need you to be lost. I need you to be okay with lost. I need you to be okay with your childhood. I need you to stop understanding why your parents were who they were so you can know who you are for a second. There's always a higher way. And as a big reminder, April 23rd and 24th is a 2-day event, right? I just want to remind you, April 23rd and 24th, put it in your calendar. That is a 2-day event called Magic Money. We're going to look at your money beliefs. We're going to find miracles in this. We're going to heal so much. And in the old days, we used to charge for these events, and now we're just making them free with the Absolutely Everything Pass. So right now, make sure you're locked in for that and be with us on the Absolutely Everything Pass, because I promise you that event will help cover years of the Absolutely Everything Pass and help you deal with things like inflation, how you're spending your money, but also the beliefs that we have, and find if we have a deep-rooted belief and an attachment to a parent who always said that money doesn't grow on trees or anything like that. Join us April 23rd and 24th for our Magic Money event. It's going to be incredible, and it's going to, hopefully, my goal is to create an event that will make the Absolutely Everything Pass pay for itself for the rest of your life.